The drama surrounding the WNBA's collective bargaining negotiations has taken a sharp and unsettling turn, and it all traces back to a quiet meeting in Nashville that may say more about the future of the league than any official press release ever could. With just 90 days left before the season is supposed to tip off, the WNBA Players Association is still waiting on a formal response to the proposal it submitted back in December. Not a counteroffer. Not revised language. Just silence. And silence, at this stage of the calendar, isn't neutral. It's leverage, tension, and uncertainty all rolled into one. What made this week different is what was revealed through social media rather than through official channels. WNBPA leadership, including its president and staff, traveled to Nashville for a closed-door, players-only meeting with athletes' unlimited participants, including members of the union's executive committee. This wasn't a courtesy visit, and it wasn't symbolic. When union leadership meets with players competing in an alternative professional league while CBA negotiations are stalled, it signals preparation for a scenario no one wants to say out loud yet. This was contingency planning. A reminder to players that the WNBA is not the only place they can play professional basketball if things break down. At the same time, the league reportedly told players that it would begin working on a proposal. That phrasing alone raised eyebrows. Begin working, not presenting, not finalizing. After 4 months of negotiations and 2 months since the players' formal proposal, ownership is still drafting a response. That tells you exactly where the power struggle sits right now. The league already made an offer before December. The players rejected it. The league knows what was rejected and knows what the players are asking for. This delay is not about confusion or complexity. It's about leverage, timing, and seeing who blinks first as the calendar tightens. Fans are picking up on that reality faster than the league might expect. The reaction online has shifted from frustration to speculation. People aren't just asking when a deal will get done anymore. They're openly discussing whether WNBA players could migrate to other leagues during a work stoppage and whether a delayed or canceled season is becoming a real possibility. Comparisons to other leagues with star-driven economics have started surfacing, and none of them are flattering. The underlying message is simple and brutal. Momentum doesn't wait, and the WNBA is risking the biggest wave of attention it has ever had. This moment hits differently because of who the new fans are. Last season didn't just grow the existing audience. It brought in millions of casual viewers who showed up for specific players, storylines, and rivalries. Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and a rookie class that pushed the league into mainstream conversation changed the stakes entirely. For many of those fans, last season was their first real investment in the WNBA. They bought jerseys. They watched playoff games. They started forming habits. And now, barely 1 season later, they're staring at the possibility that there may be no follow-up at all. That's why this labor dispute feels so dangerous. This isn't an established league with decades of generational loyalty to fall back on. These new fans are not locked in yet. They're basketball fans who found something compelling and exciting and could just as easily move on if the product disappears. A missed season doesn't just cost revenue for 1 year. It risks killing the habit before it fully forms, breaking storylines, stalling player development, and forcing the league to rebuild attention from scratch when play eventually resumes. There is, buried deep in the chaos, a sliver of good news. For the first time in league history, at least one WNBA player is expected to earn $1 million salary in the next CBA. That matters. It shows movement. It shows that ownership understands the optics and the necessity of higher top-end compensation. But the real fight isn't about one salary. It's about revenue share, long-term structure, and whether players truly benefit from the growth they're driving. One milestone contract doesn't fix systemic imbalance, and both sides know it. Ownership is doing its own math right now. They're looking at attendance spikes, television ratings driven by star power, expansion fees, and rising franchise valuations. They're calculating how little they can concede while still getting players back on the court. The players are doing a different calculation. They're looking at sold-out arenas, merchandise sales, sponsorship dollars, and media attention, and asking why the revenue split still tilts so heavily toward ownership when the product has never been more valuable. Both sides believe time strengthens their position. That's the problem. Because time is actually the one thing neither side has. Training camps need to open well before the season. Free agency, the draft, travel logistics, and broadcast scheduling don't magically compress without consequences. Even if a deal were reached tomorrow, the margin for error is already thin. Every week that passes without resolution increases the likelihood of a delayed season, a compromised schedule, or something worse. That's where the athletes' unlimited meeting becomes so revealing. From the union's perspective, leverage only works if ownership believes players are willing and able to sit out. Athletes Unlimited may not replace the WNBA, but it provides a real professional alternative where players can stay sharp, get paid, and remain visible during a lockout. That option strengthens the union's hand, but it also comes with risk. Playing elsewhere keeps players active, but it fragments attention and further disrupts the continuity that new fans were just beginning to embrace. Ownership understands that risk too. A lost season doesn't just hit the players. It damages the league's credibility with sponsors, broadcasters, and casual fans who don't follow labor politics. The danger is that both sides believe the other will cave first, and in that game of chicken, the league itself becomes collateral damage. So where does this realistically end? There are only a few paths forward. A best-case scenario involves ownership presenting a serious proposal within weeks, close enough to the players' demands to negotiate final terms and salvage the season, even if the timeline is messy. A middle ground outcome sees the season delayed, starting late with a compressed schedule that preserves some continuity but diminishes the product. And the worst-case scenario is the one nobody wants to say out loud yet. No deal, a cancelled season, and months of finger-pointing while the momentum of the past year evaporates. The tragedy is that none of this was inevitable. Both sides knew the calendar. Both sides knew the stakes. And yet, here we are, with the union still waiting on a response to a proposal submitted months ago and fans wondering whether the most anticipated season in WNBA history is slipping away before it even begins. The Nashville meeting wasn't just about solidarity. It was a warning sign. The players are preparing for the possibility that there is no deal. Now the question shifts to ownership. Is anyone on that side truly panicking yet? Because 90 days is nothing in professional sports logistics. If serious negotiations don't accelerate immediately, the league risks waking up one morning to the realization that it canceled its own breakthrough moment over percentages and positioning. So what do you think happens next? Does ownership finally present a real proposal in time to save the season? Or are we watching the WNBA fumble the start of its most important era before it fully takes off? Drop your thoughts below, hit like if you want deeper coverage of this situation, and subscribe for continued updates as this story develops, because right now the future of the league is hanging on decisions being made behind closed doors.